and welfare, and incorporated in that is also animal feeds. We've always been a world leader anyway within animal health and welfare, and a lot of the directives and regulations that are set throughout Europe at the present moment in time for animal health and welfare are based upon the principles that we've had within the United Kingdom for a number of years. I don't believe that there's been any negative effect on the industry for agriculture. Certainly we've got a common agricultural policy at the moment within the European Union. That's helped to put subsidies into the industry where there's been an industry need for subsidies to be included. It's made sure that we've got consistency across the European market for the way that animal welfare standards should be set, bringing some countries that are obviously in the European Union at a lower standard up to expected minimum EU standards. And within the UK, we've been a forerunner on that and have led that. And so I don't think there's been any negative impact from us being within the EU at all. A couple of the key main threats for Brexit, I think, will be the loss of the common agricultural policy. The devolved communities, the animal health is a devolved function, so the devolved governments will have to think how they can apply subsidy in those areas to support those agricultural businesses. It's likely that we will see, if there is a financial hardship, a reduction in potentially animal health and welfare on farm where there's compliance with the laws if they haven't got the money, for instance, dispose of things like animal byproducts, carcasses off the farm, or if they can't buy feed in to feed their animals, that then is going to lead to potentially increase in welfare. The other aspect that we have to consider is that we will become a global market, and if we're up against trade from some of the other countries around the world whose standards for animal health and welfare are a lot lower than those that we have in the United Kingdom, that makes it exceptionally difficult for some of our businesses to be competitive and to ensure that we can maintain the animal health and welfare standards that we expect within the United Kingdom. Opportunities for Brexit are very difficult to see at the present moment in time. We're still going to have to trade globally. Big thing for animal health is the disease aspect, and that's recognised by international standards for disease management, and therefore we will have to make sure that we can meet those minimum standards for disease control for any exports and trade in animals and animal related products anyway. The United Kingdom is going to be seen as a third country, and therefore the trust that they've got in the United Kingdom at the moment to produce at a set standard, we're going to be treated like any other third country where we're going to have to demonstrate above and beyond that we're compliant with European legislation for us to be part of the party, basically, for us to be able to trade. So we do need to bear that in mind. And the big inference from that is going to be a lack of resource that we may see within local authorities. How do we demonstrate to the European Union that actually we are effectively policing that whole animal health, food, feed chain to protect obviously the ultimate consumer at the end, as well as obviously animal health and welfare throughout. It's going to be that resource mechanism. How can we effectively demonstrate that we've got sufficient resource to demonstrate to the European Union that we're actually policing the rules that are there, and particularly where we've got animal health and welfare. Animal health we may see prioritised because of the disease aspect. Welfare is a may, not a must, so not all local authorities recognise that animal welfare is an obligation on them, a statutory obligation, although there is European legislation that does say that actually animal welfare can't be taken out of context from animal health, and as such it should be a priority. But if you haven't got the resource to enforce it, it becomes very difficult, and you're trying to balance national and international priorities and drivers against local need, and that's going to be quite difficult to take forward into the future. We have to look realistically at the resource that's out there for policing the food chain, because ultimately the food chain starts with the animal on farm all the way through from what's being fed into that animal to it ending up on your plate. To make sure that we've got that as a priority, there has to be sufficient funding there. Money that was previously put in post foot and mouth in 2001 has been withdrawn from central government. Local authorities, where we know that we've had a 50% cut in resource through trading standards as a whole, the probability is that's likely to be a lot higher in animal health, because there was funding that was previously been put in by DEFRA to support the animal health and welfare function. That had been withdrawn, put through the revenue support grant. It's no longer there. And, you know, we can say we've probably had at least 75% cuts, I would suggest, across the animal health and welfare enforcement body within local authority. And we really do need to be able to focus on making sure we've got the right resource there to effectively demonstrate that we are policing the food chain and that the product that is produced within the UK is of the standards that's expected. I think the important messages that we need to be getting across is that trading standards plays a fundamental part within protection of the food chain from farm to fork. We really need to be making sure we've got those key links in with the industry leaders, people like the NFU, etc., the policy leaders within central government, so DEFRA, etc., that they understand the implications that actually the exit from the European Union will have on trading standards and the fundamental role that trading standards plays within protection of the food chain for public health at the end of the day and animal health and welfare.